Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have part 2 of our bins haul. This is where I'm going to actually go through all of the books that I picked up in my trip to the bins, which was video 1, which is more just the household stuff. But I told you I picked up a whole slew of books. And yes, I did. I haven't even counted how many I've gotten. I was going to do that before I started the video, so I'll drop that in the description down here to let you know how many books I actually found. And I do plan on selling a majority of these books, so if you're interested in any, let me know. I will be going through each one and telling you approximately what I think I can get out of them. We pay 29 cents an inch for our books at the bins, which is where I picked up all of these, and I paid $33, I said, right? There's 8 and 8 is 16. Oh no, I didn't pay that much. Oh yeah, 8, 8 and 9, that's 17. Oh, 17 and 6, 23. I paid $23, sorry, I had it wrong. So $23 for all of these books, and I can tell you already, I have some worth considerably more than that. So let's just get started right here in front of me. I'm going to do some of these I have not been able to find any information on. They're going to take me a lot more time to investigate, so I'm going to go through those first. And one of them is this. It's called The Human Interest Library. I found 3 volumes of this by the Midland Press. These are dated from the 30s or 20s. This says Mrs. Lowe somebody. 1920 is when this was dated. So these are 100 years old. And it just talks about all these different, they're kind of like an encyclopedia set. I found 3 of them. Again, I had no idea. I couldn't find any listings on eBay. So they are what they are. And then I'm going to show you the back of these. We'll get back to these 2 books. These are what I believe are the most valuable. So we will get back to those. Here's one. This is interesting. It's cut out, but it's Breaking into Print. So this is basically a book talking about it says Breaking into Print being a compilation of papers wherein each of a select group of authors tells of the difficulties of authorship and how such trials are met. So it's basically a compilation of all these different authors and what they went through, or their thoughts on trying to get their writings published. Oh, this is interesting. There's a little publisher's card in here, and it says, 2 favors, please. The publishers would like to know whether this book lived up to your expectations. If so, why? And if not, why not? And that's cool. So you can send that, give your opinion, and send it back in. Well, that's kind of cool. And this was dated 1937. So, and it has all these different authors, major authors at the time, that were in there giving their opinions. This one is The Letters of Abelard and Heloise, copyright in 1926, and I never heard of it, can't find anything on it. Oh yeah, I was looking up the author. It's translated from the Latin. So this was originally written in Latin by somebody. It was translated and published as a book. There you go. Don't know anything more about it. Again, to do a thorough research would take me a lot more time, but I wanted to get this video shot, so we're just going to go with it. Theodore Dreiser, he is a known author. This one is Jenny Gerhardt. He's had other publications that he's more well known for, and this particular one, like Sister Carrie, is one of a more popular one. But a lot of these, all of these books, I believe, majority of them were from one person's collection. And, you know, they eventually ended up at the bins because they're same name in them. Sometimes they have a couple names. Most of them date people dated them from the 30s to the 50s, which is, I believe, when they received the books. They put their date in there. This particular book is called Dinners Long and Short by Adair. Again, A.H. Adair. There's a picture of him. Self-portrait, I assume. No, it says portrait by Marie Laurenson. I don't really know what this is. It was published in London. Cookery book, of course. But, oh, it is. It's a recipe book. Oh, interesting. Oh, here we go. Okay, say June, my birth month. Fish is not so good. The only fish recommendable being salmon, trout, skate, and shellfish. Butcher's meat, as in May, but lamb losing in flavor what it gains in size. Poultry is not very plentiful, but young chickens are delicious. June is really the month of young vegetables. They are at their best and are not expensive. Fruits. Strawberries begin to be plentiful and cherries make their appearance. Oh, what a fun book. We'll have to do more research on that one for sure. This one is Man, a character sketch by Oscar Firkins. And this is actually a local publication here in the Twin Cities from the, I believe, the 1920s. Here's a picture of Mr. Perkins, who was a professor of literature at the University of Minnesota. So this one has some local appeal, so I will probably put this down at the Pink Elephant, and just because, and rather than listing it on eBay. This one's from 1922, The Singing Place and Other Poems by Lily A. Long. I'll have to take a deeper dive into her. Here's Dr. Faustus by Thomas Mann. Now there's a number of books out there, Dr. Faustus, but not this particular edition. So that's why I'm like going to need more research on this particular edition of Thomas Mann. There were a number of Thomas Mann's books in this lot, and I'll show you a couple of more coming up. This one is The Golden Treasury by Paul Grave. What I find interesting is this has this plastic case on it that somebody put in there, probably in the 50s or 60s. She actually says from Virginia in 1938. So they received this book, Golden Treasury, and it's basically either poems or songs. So there's a whole huge content page, and then they're in here. So whether they're songs, oh, drink to me only with thine eyes. Yeah. So I think they're just verses of songs published in a book. So, okay, this one to me is a really cool book. I love the cover. You know when this is, coming from the early 1900s. This book said Salads and Sandwiches, being a collection of 150 tested recipes for home cookery arranged by months. It's published in Chicago in 1924. And a word about fruit salad. Things to bear in mind. And look at these pictures. How to make sandwiches. All the things you need to make sandwiches are pictured in that picture. I love it. See, they have the cookie cutters. We call them cookie cutters today, but they were used to press out sandwiches. And of course the butter dish, the cheese. Too fun. So that's a fun book. This one I picked up for myself, University of Minnesota bookstore. This one is, again, I think a 1967 publication. It's Introduction to Chinese Pronunciation. So, Far East Publications, Yale University. Thought that was fun. Out Where the West Begins by Arthur Chapman. This is another great book. This was an early publishing, 1917. So this is the first edition. Out Where the West Begins. I could not find that as well. This one, Plato, works of Plato, the Phaedrus and Lysis and Protagoras. Don't really know. This one is published in 1921. Again, I could not find this particular edition. So the first edition was printed in 1888 and then reprinted in multiple years after that. I could not find this one either. Subsequent, a Southern Vanguard. The John Peel Bishop Memorial Volume, edited by Alan Tate. It's a memorial book to this bishop. So this anthology is composed of stories, poems, and critical essays offered for the John Peel Bishop Memorial Literary Prize Contest. There you go. So, yeah, not sure about that one. Then we have this little book. It's a German book. Know nothing about it. Can't read it or understand it. So, and then this is a Yeats book, The Man and Masks, a brilliant critical biography of Yeats, the 20th century's greatest poet. From 1958, but I couldn't find anything. And there is, ooh, somebody wrote a letter. It's in here. In a different language, but I can't read it. Okay, let's get into all these other books because this is going to take a little while. So Thomas Mann, Joseph the Provider is this book. The lettering is really worn off on it. $5 to $10 on this particular book. So, good deal. This one, there were a number of really old cookbooks, which I thought was really cool. This is the Golden Medal cookbook from 1904. Yeah. So it's put out by the Gold Medal Flour Company, 1904. Chicken livers and brochette. So it breaks it down by all these different lobsters, sweet croquettes, breakfast eggs, scrambled eggs, poached eggs. So that actually could be informational to find out some of the terminology they had. Massachusetts Beautiful by Wallace Nutting. Now Nutting is famous for, I have some other books of his on furniture. He's more of a historian. This book isn't necessarily in the best of condition. Like here's a loose page. Illustrated with 304 pictures covering all the counties in Massachusetts. So this is really cool. You know, a lot of pictures in this book. So anyway, that one I'm expecting $5 to $10. Most of these are $5 books, basically. I'm going to put a lot of them down at the Pink Elephant. Malcolm Cowley, Exile's Return. This is a $10 to $15 book, from what I can tell. Not very familiar with it. This one's interesting. This is Lake Mohonk Mountain House, and it's a brochure. You can tour the house, and so it's a map or a floor plan, and then it describes the house and everything around it. But it's like a $10 to $12 little pamphlet. It's kind of a popular spot. Love Affairs of a Bibliomaniac. Another great book by Eugene Field. This one's $15 to $20, first edition. All of these have some sort of writing in them. So this one, 1896. Carl Jasper's Truth and Symbol. This is, again, a $20 book. That one's kind of cool. I like that one. This one, Point Counterpoint by Aldous Huxley. This one is a $12 to $18 book. And what's interesting about this one is somebody cut out and pasted in the back a newspaper article from this book when it was published. So that's the picture of Huxley somebody drew. So yeah, so this is basically a review of the book by somebody in these Saturday, New York, Saturday Review of Literature. I think this was, it doesn't say what paper. But anyway, which is really kind of cool about it. You don't usually see that. Here's the other Thomas Mann book, Joseph in Egypt. I have a copy of this already at my house. It's a $5 to $10 book. Here is The Coming Victory of Democracy by Thomas Mann. So like I said, there were several different Thomas Mann books, $15 to $20 for that one. So you can tell just a couple of these books that I've already paid for the whole lot. This is Barker, Luck, and Other Stories by Bret Hart, and another $10 to $15 book. So this is the reason I go through the bins and pull out the old books, because there's just some great books, and I sell a lot of these vintage books at the Pink Elephant. And the other thing is, even if they're not worth much, you can collect them together. Like, I'm gonna do a quick illustration here of what else you can do with them to add value, which is, I've done this before. I tie them together, like I do a similar color, 4 or 5 books, put them together with twine, tie them together, and sell them as a lot for like $10 for a decorative item. So people, oh, there, I got black books I can just put on the shelf. So that's another way to, you know, sell some of these older books that the covers are, you know, great, and that they're colored, and you can lot them together like that. Sorry, my brain can't do 2 things at once. This is a Faust book, parts 1 and 2. $10 to $15 on this little book. So again, a lot of these books were by well-known authors, and especially since they were early, I said I'm just going to pick them all up, not knowing what could be valuable and what isn't. Marcus Aurelius Antonius, leather-bound, wonderful feel to the leather too. It's a very soft leather. This is an early edition, early in the sense that it's it's a Thomas Nelson publication. When was this published? Come on. I don't remember now. And I'm not finding the right page. So anyway, $20 book. Good stuff. And again, there's not very many of those out there. Reading an Essay by Hugh Walpole, $5 to $10 book. And you can tell this one had a book sitting on top of it. It's probably sitting on the shelf like this. The book on top, it's all faded. This one was an interesting one. Sigrid Undset, The Master of Hexviken. So this is a $10 to $15 book. It's a collection of several of his other books put together. There's 4 of this particular, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 4 books in this binding. It's like a mid-50s binding. Okay, I am going to cover these 2 other books that I feel are, I do not know the exact value, but I feel they have significant value since they're right on top here and we're reaching that point. First one is this one, Let Me Feel Your Pulse by O. Henry. And it's from 1910 publication. It is first edition, all rights reserved, published October 1910. Now this is a book that's well known about describing the culture of the time, basically, from what I understand. And obviously O. Henry, very famous. And the inscription on the front says January 1911, which ties in directly to the October 1910 publishing date. I cannot find this edition anywhere, but a lot of these similar things are hundreds of dollars for this type of book. So this is one of those I think I'm going to have to find an expert to help me that deals in rare and antique books to figure that one out. And same with this one. Very unassuming. Obviously the cover has a few issues. It's very hard to read the spine and the name. Open it up, it's got an inscription, whoever the owner was, looks like a Ferguson, May 31st, 1897. There is, now this was kind of a clue to me, it says $35 in pencil up there. And that's been in there a long time, so I'm like, interesting. If it was $35 in whatever year that pencil was written in there. Here is a beautiful illustration in the book. And then, boom. When I saw this, I got excited. The Time Machine. Now notice this is H.S. Wells, not H.G. Wells. What's that all about? I don't really know. But Henry Holt was the first publisher of the Time Machine in 1895. So all of this ties in exactly to where it should be. So I'll have to do, again, some more research on this, but there is one, somebody says a first edition of the Time Machine listed $13,000. Do I think this book is worth that kind of money? I have no idea. But wow, I was quite shocked when I saw this. So definitely going to have to check with some experts on that one as well. And again, some of these, for these nicer things, I have no problem taking them to auction. So we just might. Who knows? Sorry, I had a message pop up there. Oh, I should tell you guys, I bought an Apple Watch at a garage sale last week for $100. Works great. I'm all excited about that. Anyway, back to the books. That's why I love garage sales. Anyway, Oliver Wiswell, another novel. Kenneth Roberts, $5 to $10. The Decorative Illustration of Books by Walter Crane, $5 to $10. Do not really know. It says, Chapter 1, of the evolution of illustrative and decorative impulse from the earliest times and of the first period of decoratively illustrated books. So this is why I think, because there's a number of books like this, I shouldn't say a number, a couple of, books that describe books and book collecting and history. So that's why I think it was somebody's collection that they were amassing, and it wouldn't surprise me that you find a couple very special books in a lot like this. Absalom by Faulkner. Again, big name authors historically. The Greatest Book in the World by Newton, $20 to $30. $5 on the Faulkner, but $20 to $30 for this particular edition. This book, Suspense by Joseph Conrad. I have a couple of Joseph Conrad books here. $5 to $10 for that one. Now, this is probably my favorite book because I love this style of book. It's a leather bound with the little spines. It's Williamsburg Art of Cookery. And now the cover, the front or the back? The back cover is loose. And this is not a valuable book, just so you know. It's a $10 book. But I got really confused when I opened up the front page and looked at that. I'm like, that is, a circa 1800 publishing style, or even back into the 1700s. But the date on the bottom down here, the Roman numerals, says 1939. My brain was like, what's going on? And look at this. This is a printing plate, and you can see the impression where the plate printed on it around the edge, just like the old etchings from the 18th century. So what I found out is this is a Colonial Williamsburg publication, but obviously in the 1930s, using the original typeface and printing style from the 18th century, which I thought was really cool. So it's not a historic book in that it's, old, but it's again a cookbook. But I love this book. So this one I'm probably keeping for myself, even for $10. All right, The Already, another novel, $5. That First Affair by J.A. Mitchell, $5 to $10 book. There's a number of these Penguin books, which, if you were in the book world at all, Penguin republished major works, so you can get collections of them. So I have 3 of them here. Requiem for a Nun by Faulkner, Sons and Lovers by Lawrence, and Go Down Moses by Faulkner as well. And these are, I'll put them down at the Pink Elephant for $3 each. And then Oh, what's the other one of this? I must have when I picked it up. Oh yeah, I mixed them up. All right, so this is another good find. The Scarlet Letter. It's a 2-volume set, the Scarlet Letter. This particular publication, now the covers aren't in the best of shape, but this is the 1892 The Casino Art Company publication, which is a rarer set. It's got the gilding on the pages. So this is like a $40 to $50 set in this condition, which was super exciting for me to find. Another cookbook. It's the Service Cookbook by Ida Bailey Allen. Oh, my wifey's calling. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm back now. Sorry about that. So yeah, so let's just continue on this book thing. This is another book where the spine is hard to read. It's called The Materials and Methods of Sculpture. So this is actually a sculpture book, which I'm keeping for myself for reference. It's got a $5 to $10 value. Whoops, I'm running out of room here for all these books, so I'm going to shift things around just a hair. I should have done that before I edited. Anyway, Parnassus on Wheels by Christopher Morley, $20 book. This one is a fun one. It's missing the original jacket cover, which is a really cool jacket cover, and you can kind of tell by that little paper label. It's pretty cool. This is called The Arts by Hendrik Willem van Loon. But the exciting thing about this one was when I was flipping through it, it has this original bookmark that would have come with the book, because it says bookmark for the arts by Hendrik van Loon. And look at the graphics on that. Isn't that cool? Love that. The fact that it stayed with this book all these years is pretty exciting, because it's a 1937 publication. So picked up this one, Mary Queen of Scots. This one is not nearly as old as 1972. It's a $5 book, but I just thought it was interesting. Now this is another higher value book. It's called The Red Pavilion by John Gunther. Never really heard of it. $30 to $40. It's kind of a cool little cover. Yep, 1926. So it's just an amazing lot, if you ask me. It says Huntsman, What Quarry by Edna St. Vincent Millay. $5 to $10 for that one as well. The Old Gentleman of the Black Stock, Thomas Nelson Page. I have $13 to $50 question mark, because there's a large range of these sold. Now this one is marked $25 on the inside cover. So again, that's kind of a good indication of some good value. So Chance by Joseph Conrad. This is a $15 to $25 book. And again, all of these are based on sold items. Basic Writings of Sigmund Freud, $15 to $20. The Amenities of Book Collecting. See, here's another book collecting book. $10 for this particular book on book collecting. The collecting books are collectible. H.G. Wells' The Croquet Player. Never heard of that particular book. $10 book by Mr. Wells. Waiting for Godot. Samuel Beckett, A Tragic Comedy in 2 Acts. So this is actually a playbook, script. So, and I collect these, so I will probably keep that one myself. Not that I have that many of them, but I do. Now this one's an interesting one. Look at this cover. It is, it's got leather work, and it's real leather, but it's, it was embossed. It's a beautiful cover. Canvas cover. There's the back, you can see a little better. But it's kind of been well used. And then it's got the little tab indents. And so I wasn't sure, I thought at first it was a Bible, but when I opened it up, the front cover, guess what we get? It's a cookbook full of yummy, delicious recipes. Lemon sherbet. Number 1 with water. 1 quart water, 3 cups sugar, 3/4 cup lemon juice, 2 egg whites. Make a syrup by boiling sugar and water for 5 minutes. Add lemon juice, cool and freeze to a mush. I love it. Cool and freeze to a mush. Ah, good stuff. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith is a $3 to $5 book. It's kind of got some condition issues. MANTRAP, Sinclair Lewis. There's quite a few of these on eBay, but they're listed around the $25 to $30 range. So I never heard of this one. RFD by Charles Allen Smart. But it's a $15 book. So, hey. The 40 Days of Mushta. This is a Jewish book. $10. A number of those have sold. This is the Spirit Lake Massacre. This actually is based on a true story of a massacre that happened in Iowa. This is a 1910 printing, but it's a $25 to $30 book. And I actually am going to take this home and read about this. So, more reading. This one, the Bible designed to be read as living literature, the Old and New Testaments, and the King James Version. This one I bought for myself as well. I don't have the price on here. It was like a $10 reference book. There's newer editions of that are out there, quite a few of them. Oh, this is an interesting one. Look, Lady Chatterley's Lover, of course, by D.H. Lawrence. But notice it's a paper label, and I thought that was interesting when I grabbed it. And it's a, canvas cover, plain interior. And then here's the interior page. Lady Chatterley's Lover, 1930 by William Farrow. Revised, 1930. What's interesting about this particular book, there is one just like this, currently listed on eBay for $145. This is called a pirated version, because when Lady Chatterley's Lover was first published, it was considered obscene. And then there's an obscene law that was passed, and so it wasn't officially published until the 1960s, early 60s, late 50s, early 50s, 60s. So this would be what's called a pirated copy. So I thought that was pretty cool. $145. Sure, we could do that. Not that I'm going to buy it, but I'm going to sell it for that. Atlas of Medieval and Modern History, $5 to $10. And then here's a couple just for my personal use, and thank you so much for sticking with us through this whole long video, but there's just some great books. That's all I got to say. Golden Sheaves. This is a song book from 1900, and I collect these as well. So yeah, I need to sell some because I don't need to collect all of these and keep them. Piano booklet. And I just wanted to see what the publishing date of this was. I don't remember. I just grabbed it because I saw it was a piano book. All the different music publishers. Established 1883. That's fine. 1919. So, okay. And then these are modern, but I thought they were most interesting because I've never seen them. I haven't looked them up or anything. But they're gift wraps by artists. This is the Paisley book, and this is the Kimono. And basically, they are gift wraps in book form. So you can tear them out and use them to gift wrap your packages. But they're in book form. I was like 16 different full color patterns. Most interesting, published 1988. Wow. So these are vintage. I thought they were much more modern. They're much more modern than the other books, but they're still vintage. Cool. All right, guys. That's what I got for you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.